This is The Gorge. It's a podcast where my friend Sarah and I gorge ourselves on overanalyzing a topic.
The Gorge is brought to you by Audible.com. If you want to support The Gorge and get a free audiobook of your choice from Audible's selection of like 300,000 audiobooks, you can go to audibletrial.com/thegorgepodcast.
Gorgecast. Audibletrial.com/gorgecast. I know, it sucks, and I'm going to try to set everything to be equal, at least the Patreon and the Ko-fi.
I'm sorry. audibletrial.com/gorgecast. One day I'll get it right. And you can try and selection of anything you want, basically. I'm not reading anything new right now, so my default is always World War Z, because it's an excellent audiobook. Zombies have become lame and uncool, but World War Z is still a good book. Mark Hamill is in it, so you should go listen to that, courtesy of The Gorge. Yeah!
Oh, I have one, though, actually.
Oh.
It is the holiday season. And per my tradition, I always like to read Terry Pratchett's Hogfather.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
The narrator they have for the Discworld book series is phenomenal. He does some amazing voices and amazing accents. I highly recommend that. That's Hogfather by Terry Pratchett.
Okay, there you go. That's lots of good recommendations for us. So, on with the show?
Yes, what are we doing this week?
This week, we're resetting the clock, sort of. This is a Gorge special report. We're calling it Reset the Clock, the Fallout 76 story. Basically, a dramatic recounting of the cartoonish failure that is Fallout 76. Yes, other people have done this as well, but hey, did you know that Fallout 76 is over a year old now?
It is, it said it's your first anniversary, last month, and
I think it was, November the 5th or something like that?
Yeah, November 14th, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So, my original plan for this to do research on was to just go and compile articles month by month since the game's release.
Yes.
And in my first initial search for Fallout 76 news articles, I found that someone on Kotaku had done that for me.
Thanks, Kotaku. You made the work a lot easier.
So I am just going to I tried to do my own thing, my own bit of research, but it didn't work because everything would just be on this article.
So we will link to this article in the episode description. Who is this article by? So we can...
Ethan Gach?
Okay.
Gach. I don't know how to pronounce that, but thank you, Ethan.
It's Gact. It's Gact from Japan. He's come to wreak havoc on Fallout 76, the J-Rock idol. Because it was something we've been thinking about for a while, and it was like, we wanted to play Fallout 76 first, but this game really refuses to go to free-to-play, and I'm not paying money for it. Sorry.
So, we'll just do it this way.
We're just gonna do it this way.
So I'll take a quick, I'll go through this article here. It's got links to every single article that he mentions.
Great.
And
I'm excited.
It is super extensive. So let's start off before the story even begins.
Yes.
With the beta that launched on October 23rd. Which, of course, being a beta has its fair share of problems and glitches and stuff. Most importantly is the entire game files being deleted.
Oh yeah, that one was a good one.
Yeah, right when you play the beta for seemingly no reason, it can just delete the entire 50 gig file.
Massive download, so I hope you enjoy re-downloading it again. And if you have data caps, I guess, go fuck yourselves.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to you. You're done.
You're done. You don't get to do anything else. Sorry. The beta was the beginning of the end, because The thing about the beta for Fallout 76 and most modern betas is that these aren't betas. These are just demos. Like, a beta back in the day was supposed to be like months in advance so that you would actually have time to do bug fixes, you know?
Mm-hmm. A beta in October when the game comes out in November is not a beta. There's no time to fix anything catastrophic. No. When you get when you get these like pre-launch, like you said, like you get these pre-launches, it's like they're designed for players to like bug test and to see what happens when the game is in like a real world environment.
That's what they used to be about. My dogs are playing in the background. I apologize. That's what they used to be about. I remember trying to get into the Halo 3 beta. I did not. And that was months before Halo 3 was supposed to come out so that people could like really put the servers through the wash and see how well it handled it. And then, you could also do bug tests and stuff like that, and people could submit reports, and there was enough time that people were basically doing, quality assurance for them, and you could submit reports, and that you had a decent amount of faith that those bugs would see some love and attention to get fixed. No, not so much when it's less than a month, actually,
right,
before your video game comes out. Like, then you're basically just like, you're just kind of hoping that it all goes well.
A month before the game comes out, you feel confident in your game.
Yeah. Like, I could see it being like a network test thing, but I think these days, like, most devs have a brain on their shoulder. I know that the Code Vein demo was called a network test. It wasn't actually called a beta. You specifically applied to be part of the network test, because it's like, no, the game is done. We just need to make sure the network can handle however many people are on it. That's not how 76 was framed.
No, it was framed as a beta. So, let's talk about the game's launch now. The game launches to a critical, underwhelming performance. The sales points of stuff like not having any NPCs makes the world end up feeling mostly just kind of empty and desolate.
Yeah, because turns out there's not actually... I don't think there's 76 players on a server. I think it's less than that, especially in the beginning, because they were having so many network problems. The only thing they could do was have people just play it on less occupied servers. But I don't know if you know this, but Fallout 4's map is quite large, and 76's map is 4 times that size. So, 76 people, or however many, just running around on a map, you're not gonna run into a lot of people. And
no.
That's kind of how they advertised it, was you can play it by yourself if you wanted to. But the problem with Fallout 76 is the more people on your server, the worse the game runs. So no, you can't play it by yourself, no matter what you want to do. And so you can't enjoy the game just as a solo player, because you're still going to have to deal with all the usual bullshit,
It's like what I talked about when we did our itch.io Halloween thing, where I talked about playing that solo version of Left 4 Dead, and it's it just feels empty and isolated and scary and kind of depressing.
Yeah. It's you could maybe do something interesting with that. 76 does have, despite its flaws, I've said this a lot, it does seem to have really interesting looking world design. There's a lot of really cool locations and stuff. And me personally, I so rarely interact with NPCs when I play 4 that I would probably be fine with it. But obviously you can't play the game alone, so you don't get any of the benefits of just being by yourself on a server. Because other people can loot shit before you get there, and so you're not really getting to enjoy either part of the game, really. So lonely is fine, but it's just boy, it's drab.
So what we ended up getting in these early days is new players acting as NPCs.
Yeah.
And setting up little shops and giving out supplies and stuff to other players to fill that void in what is the first of many articles on here about the players doing something weird.
Players doing something weird that Bethesda probably should have considered when this game was in development.
And so that leads us also, speaking of first, to the first of the real world problems that this game had. When it turns out that the fans who got the Power Armor edition of the game, instead of getting a duffel bag that was promised, that was literally written duffel bag in the release so there's no way you can dance around it.
Yep.
Instead got a cheap nylon bag.
I love Duffelgate. I think it's probably like the ultimate expression of like the convergence of many stupid people coming together in one point, and it's just everything about it is stupid because like, yeah, fuck Bethesda, they're a major corporation and we hate them, but also the people who got like really incensed about it are probably like the biggest dumbasses on the internet, because like they were just acting like this was some sort of massive problem when it's really just like, no, this is Bethesda. You probably should have expected to get screwed. Like, you are a sucker. I hate to tell you this, but if you bought this game at launch and you spent
$200
$200 on a game literally nobody asked for. That's the thing, is that nobody has ever asked for an online Fallout game, ever. If you spent $200, you're a chump. You deserve to get scammed by Bethesda at this point. Like it's on you too, buddy. That works both ways. Like, this is the one time when victim blaming is completely acceptable. Yes, absolutely blame the victim. You are the dumbass that has allowed them to keep doing this for so long.
And as we'll learn later on, it's not just that, but it's just every way Bethesda tried to fix this makes it worse and worse and worse and worse, and it's the best.
It's so good.
So again, speaking of players who do crazy and weird things, the game had a system where you can wipe the board, clear out all the player-built things by launching nukes, right? And this was obviously an endgame task that was supposed to be really hard to accomplish. Well, players found out how to brute force the system.
Yeah.
In 1 week.
I mean, yeah, I could have told you that, Bethesda. I could have sat somebody down and been like, my dude, you are severely underestimating the power of collective action when it comes to, like, figuring out stupid internet puzzles, because nobody at Bethesda is smart enough to come up with a puzzle that will actually stump, like, multiple people for an extended period of time.
It ended up being that because you still had to physically go out into the world and collect the code fragments, there was still a time limit, so it wasn't just like nukes constantly going off, but there was still no protection. There's no like timer set up to be like, okay, nukes can't go off like within like 2 weeks of each other or something. Some sort of like preventative measure, even the most rudimentary, like, really no one thought about that? No one thought like, well, what if they get really smart and figure it out right away? What do we do then?
You didn't think? I mean, like, okay, flashback to 2015, right? And PT just hit the PSN. Hideo Kojima expected it would take people a week to 2 weeks to a month to figure out the solution to PT. A game that is, like, when you actually sit down and see all the steps to solving PT, it is pretty incomprehensible. But people had it solved in, like, 4 days, man. Okay?
They work fast, and especially with the internet the way it is in communication, like, yeah, you will get answers pretty quickly no matter what. You have thousands of people working towards one goal.
Unless it is, like, extremely esoteric bullshit, like that cicada 1183 or something like that, 1137, 11 something or other. It's a thing that I'll link you later. It's really cool. It's basically just like a dumb internet thing, but it's neat. And the thing is that those puzzles are pretty complex and hard to figure out. Unless you're doing something like that, like, yeah, people are gonna figure it out. Especially if it's a major AAA game release. And it's something you actually can just brute force. Like, no, guys, come on. Bethesda, come on.
You've got to think this through, even a little bit.
But that would require Bethesda to... I mean, if Bethesda thought it through, then there wouldn't be nukes at all. Because they would go like, oh yeah, nukes, just being able to like casually nuke each other is probably antithetical to like what Fallout is about.
Right.
You know? So nobody at Bethesda really was ever thinking at any step of this process. You know? I feel sorry for those poor bastards down in Austin who are just kind of like, here, take our shit. And they're like, what? Huh? We weren't brought on to do this.
No.
No.
So, the first patch is put out on November 19th.
Right.
It is the only patch, I think, on this list that does not catastrophically break something else. But it is 47 gigs.
47 gigs! 40! God!
For reference, the beta was 50 gigs.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And remember,
Just imagine.
this first patch does not fix any of the problems that are still on this list. Remember, we're in November.
This is 5-6 days after launch? Oh boy!
Moving on, the Metacritic score has now plunged into the 50s.
Yikes.
The bobby pins in the game are 60 times heavier than real-life bobby pins.
Todd Howard, though, this is funny. I mean, Todd Howard is a liar, a cheat, and a coward. However, there is a very funny video clip of him being interviewed somewhere, and he says, I had somebody mail me a box of bobby pins with a note attached to it that said, weigh these. And I was like, all right, that's pretty funny, Todd. So, yeah, especially, excuse me. Especially in a game where, like, your carrying capacity is, like, that's all you got.
At a premium? Like,
it's at a premium, and bobby pins are some of the most important, like, thing you can carry.
One of the most frequent things you can pick up, and one of the things like you want the most of.
Yeah. Thanks, Todd.
So, here's the first one, the first big... attempt to fix the Promises of the Power Armor edition. Mm-hmm. Bethesda gives players 500 atoms of premium currency, which is less than the cost of the virtual messenger bag that the real life one was based off of.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think that's one of my favorite, probably one of my favorite stories, is that you can't even buy, like, with 500 atoms, you can't even buy a messenger bag in game.
It's hilarious.
They're like 800 atoms. Like the postman uniform is what the messenger bag comes from. Because Bethesda, by the way, Fallout 76 basically just runs on Fallout 4's engine, and without mods, because like this game is, without mods, you don't actually get to have just like a separate bag. I mean, I'm sure maybe now after like a few months you do, because you can in Fallout 4 base game. This game is basically like an expansion of Fallout 4, which is like, I always think of it as like Fallout 4 is just the base game, and this is just like some horrible expanded version that costs too much money.
Fallout 76 is the multiplayer version, much in the same way that like Spec Ops: The Line had a multiplayer tacked on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, remember that? Remember how that was forced on them?
Oh, that sucks so hard, man. But yeah, no, you can't even, you have to buy the postman uniform, which is ugly. And it still costs 800 atoms, which is just chef's kiss. It's so stupid. It's perfect. It's indicative of this entire fiasco.
We're in December now.
Okay.
We have the first patch, or the second patch of December. Mm-hmm. This one doesn't have changes listed in the patch notes.
Hey, Bethesda. Hey, what's this do? Excuse me. What does this do?
What'd you fix?
It's kind of like, it's like coming home to like your apartment. And you know something's different.
There's a note.
You're pretty sure your landlord has been in your apartment.
There's a note from maintenance that says we visited and fixed it.
That's it. Just we fixed it. And then you spend the rest of the night just like opening cabinets and checking piping, and you're like, what the fuck did you fix? And it turns out they didn't fix anything.
No, it's something else broke instead.
Maintenance just came into your house and kicked your cat. That's what they fixed.
So there was one really nice thing people liked about Fallout 76, and that was the Feed the People public event, which was a thing where every so often, by doing a certain quest or whatever, you would give everyone on the server free food.
Beef stew, it's fine.
It was a great little thing, to help the community and like be part of like a group, everyone on the server got free food from that.
And it's cute because 76 is ostensibly still a survival game, so like you do need food, like you do have to carry food with you. So it's like a cute little way. Suddenly you get like a little bit of stew in your inventory, and it's like, oh, somebody out there did this quest, and now I don't have to worry for however many hours. I've actually got food in my belly. It's cute. Mm-hmm. It fits this idea of like community building that Fallout 76 is ostensibly about.
So that was a glitch, and it got patched out.
Rob.
Bringing it back down to what it should have been, which is like players in the immediate area or whatever.
Yeah.
The patch also did the opposite of making people suffer by granting us my favorite story out of Fallout 76, which is the immortal player.
The player who could not die. It's that's my favorite MST3K movie. The Robo-Brain that wouldn't die.
The short story in the collection of 99 short science fiction stories. A tale of man's hubris. Every other episode of The Twilight Zone.
A tale of misery and woe, warning us of what happens when you play a Bethesda video game.
When you tamper in Todd's domain. You get a player who cannot take damage anymore and cannot die. No.
I love that story too, because after a little while, it's funny because like you read the story, like the articles about it, and that player is like, "No, I want to die. I want to die."
There's nothing else for him to do in the game. There are no more worlds to conquer.
How am I supposed to eat all of this food?
There was a time now.
Oh man, it's not fair. It's not fair. It's great.
So let's see. They finally fixed the bobby pin weight on January 10th. The next day, no, but the next day, players find the developers room. This is
a good one.
This causes a black market of legendary items to form.
Yep.
By people breaking into the developer's room and robbing it blind and then pawning off the weapons that they're not supposed to get.
Yes. Yeah, so this is a good one too. Because like, so obviously Bethesda cracks down on people going into the dev room, right? Mm-hmm. They are like, well, your character went into the dev room, banned. But, like, then it's, like, all you have to do is you go in with, like, because, like, anybody can get into the dev room.
Yeah.
So you go in with, like a low-level character, and then you take everything you can from the dev room, you leave, and then you just give that shit to, like, another high-level character, and then Bethesda, takes the low-level character out back and, shoots it in the head.
It's...
None the wiser.
It's like if the police catch you robbing something and they're chasing you down and they see you pass the stuff off to the mafia.
Yeah.
And then they kill you anyway.
Well, they would. I mean, let's be real for a second. The police actually would probably just kill you anyway. But yeah, they wouldn't actually care about the stolen shit. They're just here to kill you. It's incredible. It's the funniest story ever. It's like how. I know that the fact that there is a dev room in 76, an online multiplayer game, is truly proof that this engine was not made for an online multiplayer game. Like, I think the way that the creation engine works, and somebody is going to tell me I'm wrong, but I am like 85% sure that the way the creation engine works is that there has to be a dev room for the stuff to exist in your game.
Right.
Like, it can't just exist as, like, code, and then the game, like, loads it. You know what I mean?
There has to be, like, a source.
It has to be in a container somewhere in the game, like a hidden container, and then when you find, like, a shotgun, what's happening is that the container you find the shotgun in is loading that shotgun from the dev room. So, like, there has to be a dev room in Bethesda games because it can't just conjure stuff out of the ether, basically.
Right.
Which is probably, like, a gross misrepresentation of, like, how video games in general work, but I'm, like, simplifying. Because I'm very stupid. So, like, that, like, the nature of that kind of implies that you shouldn't have an online multiplayer game that is, like, hinges on balance, you know? You probably shouldn't have a dev room in a game like that. Because, again, people are crafty and will eventually find that dev room.
And when they do, they're going to cause havoc. And then
it's only a matter of time.
Your method of preventing them doesn't work because it's after the fact.
After that, it's too late. Once it's been found, you can't close that Pandora's box, baby. It's not going anywhere.
It's like we always say, shut the fuck up about your fan game.
Shut the fuck up. I was going to say war never changes, but that also works.
But no, it's shut the fuck up. Wait until the game's out.
Yep.
And then no one can stop you. It's in the air. It exists now, and no one can take it down forever.
Oh, well. What's next?
So explosive weapons have been very powerful in this game. They finally get nerfed in a patch.
Yes.
The patch breaks the bobby weight pins again.
I was waiting for it. It was too good to be true. I was just like, there's no possible way they just easily fixed those fucked up bobby pins.
Nope. The next patch
incredible.
Immediately breaks it. We're in January, by the way, and they got
it's
fixed.
Only January.
The bobby pins got fixed on January 10th.
Okay.
Let me see if I can confirm when the patch for this comes out. This patch came out January 29th.
Amazing.
19 days later.
Amazing. This is such a good, like, it's so indicative of how fucked up Fallout 76 is. Because, like, I think this basically means that, like, they patched an old version of the game.
You're right. Like, they would have, like, that's probably what it was, is they
patched the explosive, like, they nerfed the explosives on a version of the game that still had the wrong bobby pin weight, and then just put that thing out, you know? Like, that's probably what it is. It's not that, like, fixing the explosives suddenly made the bobby pins way more, but I mean, it totally could. I mean, that's possible. Video games are magic and held together by prayer. But it's more likely that they patched an older version of the game and then just put that out there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which is tremendous. It's incredible. It speaks volumes to the unending problems of this game. I love it. It's so stupid. I love it.
We are at the end of January now.
Yes.
We have the first incident, another real world incident going on.
Yay!
German stores are giving Fallout 76 away.
Oh, man.
There were several articles about this, and I remember laughing at every single one, which is there are a bunch of GameStops in different countries throughout Europe, and other places overseas, where they were just fucking bundling copies of Fallout 76 with PlayStations and Xboxes.
And this is incredible, too, because, like, if you see the pictures, they literally, like, just tied the game to the system.
They zip tie it to the console.
Like, God, please take this. We're begging you.
And the funny thing is, this picture here, they're not just taping them to, like, regular Xboxes. No, they're taping them to the Xbox that already has Fallout 76 as a digital download. They're just like, take this shelf space, please. We
need the storage in the back.
We need room. We can't handle this.
I've worked at 4 GameStops in my life because, you know, sure, why not? I've worked at 4 different GameStops, and like at all of them, backroom space is kind of like at a premium. Like I've worked at some that have really like big back rooms. I worked in one that was basically, its back room was literally a closet with a bathroom stapled to it, which was interesting. But even like in like the ones with like large back rooms are still like, I mean, the shelves are still crammed with shit. And it's just like, I can just see in my mind's eye, like an oracle, I can just see the rows and rows and rows of Fallout 76 just taking up space. Just the saddest story ever told. A game nobody wants, but Bethesda is still shilling because, like, it doesn't matter as long as if you buy something from the Atom Store, then it's ultimately worth it.
Right.
To just give the game. Which is why I'm still shocked this game hasn't gone free to play yet. God. Okay.
So players are now desperate to find something to do.
Right.
So we are in February now.
Okay.
They have found a way to glitch into an unopened vault.
Oh yeah, this is an interesting one, and it's another kind of proof that 76 sucks. Is that the base game of Fallout 76 before like all the patches and stuff hit is like it's this big open Fallout world, and you can't get into any of the vaults. There are 3 vaults in West Virginia, not counting Vault 76. I know there's one in the Strangler Vines Forest, which is like one of the coolest locations that is utterly wasted on this garbage video game. There's one in the Strangler Vines Forest, and none of them, there's no way to open them. And people really did look and try to find, like, maybe it's like a really cleverly hidden quest. And that actually would have been cool. Like, oh, Bethesda actually would have done something cool for once, is that you had to do like a really elaborate quest to open the vaults, to get inside and maybe do like a neat thing or actually experience a good story somewhere. Although if Fallout 4's vaults are any indication, probably not.
Probably not, no.
Probably not. So, but you know, like there's hope, but no, like 76 is such unfinished dog shit that they didn't even have one vault available to open. Like, no, all of them were closed and you have to wait. So,
Now,
so they glitch into it. What's behind there?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
It's empty.
I didn't think so.
The vault has a layout, but there's no quests, there's no enemies, it's just empty.
Yeah, it sucks. That sucks.
Here's my question though.
Yeah,
actually, now that I think about this. Fallout 76 is what? 76? It's Reclamation Day. It's like 76 days after the war, right?
25 years after the war. It's the most recent point in the post-war timeline. It's called 76 because it opened to the public on the 300th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. So 2076.
So, that being said, 25 years is not a long time.
No.
These vaults should still be active.
Yeah, there should still be people in them, almost certainly.
Like, unless they were a completely unmitigated disaster.
Which is obviously possible considering the stories we know.
Right, yeah, true. But, like, there's no reason to have it populated by skeletons and mutants yet, because, like, it wouldn't make sense yet.
Well, that's why it sucks so much. I mean, like, if you've ever heard the bullshit hand-wavy story for Fallout 76's overworld, like, not its dungeons or anything like that, like the vaults, like, the reason that West Virginia is unpopulated is a completely bullshit story. The deal is that, like, it makes no sense for 76 to not have NPCs, because, like, it's only been 25 years, and West Virginia, the entire state, does not take a direct hit. I don't think there's anywhere in West Virginia that I think there's one place in West Virginia that got hit, but that's it. So, like, it's not like Boston, which takes a ton of direct hits just outside the city. And it's not like DC, which the whole city itself was actually nuked. It was like one place in West Virginia got hit. So, like, it makes no sense for there not to be people, so they had to come up with a super bullshit hand-wavy reason for why there are no people, and it's some fucking stupid plague idea. It's such garbage. It sucks, because, like, I could have written fuck. I don't like to be like, I could have done better, but I mean, literally, there are no writers on staff except for Emil Pagliarulo on staff at Bethesda. So, yes, I actually probably could have done better. Like, and that's not me bragging. I mean to say that almost anybody on Earth could have done better than the garbage we got. So yeah, those vaults should still be active. There should still be people running around West Virginia, but Bethesda is hack frauds. What do you want?
So, we're moving into March.
Cool.
A survival mode gets added where PvP is encouraged. Mm-hmm. What this turns into is player spawn camping fast travel points.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's... You throw your hands up and you say, what are you going to do about that? Because, like... Of course
people
they are.
Assholes.
Of course they are. Like, what... You don't offer any protection from PvP. You don't offer any way to balance this in a way that's fair, and you are pretty much actively encouraging this kind of bullying.
It's shocking to me, because, like, certified bad video game, The Division, handles PvP better than Fallout 76. The Division has designated, and I think a lot of games do this, but The Division is the one that comes to mind, and it's a bad video game that got it right. So, what does that say about 76? Like, in The Division, there are just designated PvP zones, and, like, it's... And even in PvP zones, it works. They're called, like, I think they're called dark zones, and what you do is, like, you go in there, and that's where the high-level enemies and the good loot are, right? Like, that's, like, the really dangerous areas. You go in there, you get but it's also the PvP-enabled zone, so you can get jumped by randos who want the high-level loot that you just killed, like, a high-level boss for, you know? Mm-hmm. But inside the dark zone, if you do kill another NPC and take their shit, a bounty gets put on your head through the entire server. So, like, now everybody's hunting for you because you just player killed.
Everyone knows you've got the stuff.
Yeah, everybody knows you've got the stuff. Everybody knows you're an asshole. So it encouraged. I mean, I think it's a pretty interesting system. It's easy to game that system. It's funny to watch. If you follow Lord Mandalore on YouTube and Twitter, he did a good video about where his friends and him just like killed a bunch of dudes in the Dark Zone, and then they set up a choke point on like a roof. So every time people came to try and get them, they would just gun them down. And because people were coming to them, they were constantly dropping ammo. So they could have just sustained this choke point for basically ever.
It's
awesome. It's really funny. It's awesome. It's great. And it's like, that's a pretty effective system. It probably could use some ironing out. I think the Division 2 does some of that ironing out. But in general, like, that's a good system that works and makes a lot of sense because, like, the Division is also a post-plague, post-apocalypse, like, system. Like, those are pretty analogous games when you think about it, just in, like, broadest of strokes. So that actually would have worked really well, and it would have encouraged, like, hey, if you want to do PvP, there's going to be consequences. And I think and it also encourages like high level areas where people can go try to get like good loot and shit like that. And keeps people from doing shitty things like spawn camping at fucking fast travel points. So yeah, that's just asshole behavior, but that's like standard, like if you think it through for 5 seconds, you can prevent behavior like this. But as we've learned through 40 minutes of talking so far, nobody at Bethesda thinks anything through ever before they decide to just publish this fucking, like, the next version of the game.
The first idea is the best idea.
Yeah, of course. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it in any more depth or consider, like, basic human nature. Like, I don't know if anybody at Bethesda, like, any of the higher-ups at Bethesda even play video games anymore, because it sure as fuck doesn't feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways.
Moving on to April.
Yeah, happy birthday, Ben!
They start selling in-game repair kits for real money to repair all your weapons and gear and stuff.
God.
This is the first of the microtransactions that actually adds significant weight to the game.
Yeah.
The first of the pay-to-win kind of things.
And there's a lot more of them are coming.
Also in April, this isn't in the article, but it's worth mentioning. Justin and Griffin McElroy put out their Monster Factory episode of Fallout 76, wherein the game crashes on camera.
And it crashes during character creation. So, like, the most important part of, like, a Monster Factory episode is when the game decides to crash.
They had finished creating their design.
Slimeburger, rest in peace.
Slimeburger. And the game crashed before they could start the game.
Yep, they literally were confirming their player card.
Complete shutdown of everything. On camera.
Amazing. Just exactly what you would hope would happen, honestly. Like, rest in peace, Slimeburger, you beautiful boy. But you were sacrificed for a good cause, which is, of course, comedy.
Yes. Let's see what else happens.
So much.
Moving on to May, speaking of real-world merchandise. They start putting out player-operating vending machines.
Yes.
And including a tax on all vendor transactions. But this is one of the first few things that has actually a benefit because players are forced to interact with each other in a neutral or supportive way for once.
Right.
Then E3 happens.
Oh no.
E3 Bethesda finally announces they're going to get proper NPCs later in the year. And includes a battle royale mode.
Oh, what utter anticlimax, because I think the point of at least one of the vaults is to just be a place to do battle royale. Like, what tragedy, what sadness, what misery you inflict on these poor souls to be like, yeah, you know, the crux of the Fallout franchise has kind of become, it really didn't start that way, but it became like interesting vault experiments, like New Vegas kind of famously has extremely good vault experiments. And And it's like that, and it kind of over time became one of the most fascinating hooks of the franchise. It's like, ooh, what interesting vaults are we going to run into, kind of thing. And then, what a slap in the face. What misery and chaos and sadness, grief and mourning do you inflict on people when you say, yeah, one of the vaults is for Battle Royale? It's like, man.
You know that thing
It's
that
already,
everyone's doing
people burnt out on?
Is here.
Do you love Battle Royale modes? No? Well, too bad. Here's a Battle Royale. It's like, yeah, thanks. It would have been cool if this was everything that's in these, announced. By the way, I don't think any of this shit's still come out yet.
We'll get to one of them later. But
good,
Battle Royale,
okay.
the Battle Royale mode is out.
Oh, well, I'm color me shocked.
So something else that comes out in that month, the players have finally started receiving their promised canvas bags that should have come with the game from the start.
Yes.
It's also shortly revealed later on that influencers and important online people got their canvas bags from the start.
And their canvas bags were way nicer.
Which means that Bethesda's original response, which was the canvas material cost too much to make, was A, proven to be false right away, and B, apparently not even their excuse.
I think they even said some bullshit about there being a canvas shortage. I distinctly remember the phrasing canvas shortage, or maybe that was what was causing the price to go up. Either way, yeah, they handed out for free. You didn't even have to pay $200. If you went to one of Bethesda's shitty influencer events, by the way, imagine soul-crushing, abysmal horror of going to a Bethesda influencer event.
Right.
The kind of brainwashed simps that go to a Bethesda influencer event. I couldn't be in this, and I've put 1,200 hours into Fallout 4. I could not be in the same room as those people. Fuck, if I had to be in the same, zip code as fucking Oxhorn or whatever that guy's name is, I would probably just put a gun in my mouth. So yeah, horrible, real black-pilled shit there, where people, talk. Imagine being in a room full of people who think the quest writing in Fallout 4 is good.
Couldn't be me.
Couldn't be me. Could not be me. Unless you just paid me a ton of money.
Yeah.
Or maybe gave me a cool canvas bag. I don't know.
I'll say anything for money.
It's true.
Moving on to July, we have the 11th big update to the game. And, of course, a bunch of stuff immediately falls apart.
Well, yeah, of course.
Inventory is disappearing. Players are dying if they just walk past certain locations. Just dying. Just whatever, you die.
It's so good. That's my favorite. I think that's my favorite one we've said so far. Because just imagine your game. Just imagine.
Imagine.
Your game updates. You've put, 76 has got that, annoying, I hate to say Dark Souls, but I'm gonna say Dark Souls. It's got that, that fucking Dark Souls thing where if you die, you drop your shit, and you gotta go back to your body to get it. I'm sure, actually, a lot of survival games do that, but my brain said Dark Souls, so, you've gotta go back to your body to, get your shit. So, maybe you do a good job of not getting killed in this stupid fucking video game. And you're just minding your own business, just walking along. Maybe you're listening to the radio. You're going to go look at some neat stuff. You are one of those poor sad sacks who is probably still enjoying themselves despite, Bethesda-ing all over the place. And you just kind of, walk past a car. And then your character just goes,
yeah, and you just fall over.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
It's amazing.
That's how I would feel if I played Fallout 76, probably. God, maybe something would just kill me randomly and I won't have to do this anymore.
Yeah. So, after that, they put out a cosmetics bundles that cost $25.
Ooh, yeah. And then, this is a good one, too, because it doesn't actually cost $25. It costs $12. But what they do is they put it out at the cost of $25, and then they say like, ooh, but it's on sale, so you can get it for $12, right? But like it's always that price. Like it's always marked down. Turns out that's like hella illegal in not American countries, like in the EU and Australia. That's super against the rules.
You can't
and they got
do
that shit
that.
knocked down really hard. It's really funny, actually. Yeah. You idiots. Jeez. $24 for a bunch of emotes. Could you imagine?
That's absurd.
Those are the people who also go to Bethesda influencer events.
Mm-hmm.
If you buy an emote pack on Fallout 76 for $24, well, you don't get to go to an influencer event because Bethesda doesn't respect you.
Right.
So, I was gonna say, but then I thought about it a little bit more, and I was like, no, they don't. Never mind. Changed my mind. Okay.
All right, so we have a raid comes out in August. We're in August now.
Mm-hmm.
It gets its first raid. One player gets trapped in their power armor due to a bug during the raid, and so they're not able to complete
horrifying. Horrifying.
This can happen. Like, this is just a random one-off glitch that can happen to certain players.
Mm-hmm.
Someone finally completes the raid. Instead of getting a legendary weapon or anything, they get a power drill.
Yay!
It doesn't.
It's a legendary power drill.
It doesn't do anything. It's a drill.
Oh, wait! It's not a weapon. It's
It's a weapon, but it can't get legendary stats on it.
Oh no.
So.
Well, better try that again.
Yep.
Have fun, idiot.
Let's see here.
I can't stop thinking about the player trapped in their power armor.
Isn't that the most terrifying thing you could ever think of, though?
It's a horror story waiting to happen. It's
right?
Exactly why, like, I, as a human being, if they actually made power armor, no. Fuck no. You would not be caught dead in a fucking, 2-ton suit of titanium that is guaranteed to smash all of your bones. I just feel like something would happen and you would become the horrifying story of somebody who had to live in their power armor because, like, if they tried to take you out of it, it would smash your joints. So, like, you can, like, take your helmet off, but you gotta, like, poop and stuff inside the power armor and then they hose it out of you. Horrible.
Just terrible experience to think about.
No, nightmare to think about. So, no thank you. I'm good.
And, of course, speaking of power armor, this isn't really mentioned in the article, but, like, it's worth mentioning just in general that the game does include a lot of the Fallout 4 glitches, again, leading credence to the idea that this is just Fallout 4 that they kind of slapped an online version on, including the body distortion glitch where your power armor vanishes.
It turns you into Slender Man.
And turns you into a weird mutant man. That is just in this game, too.
This is an incredible one to me because, like, they patched that out of Fallout 4. Like, that doesn't happen. As far as I'm aware of, that doesn't happen in Fallout 4 anymore. Like, you can't get the Slender Man bodies because they fixed it. So that means that 76 was built off like an old version of Fallout 4, which is incredibly depressing. Because you've built your guaranteed to be janky multiplayer game on the jankiest version of an already pretty janky game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. Oh okay. God, it's collapsed into a singularity suck and it's turned into a black hole. Oh God. There goes all of Bethesda's money.
So we're moving on. We're moving on from August to September, and here the articles kind of start like dwindling off. A lot of the smaller stuff has gotten out of the way now.
Because after a certain point, you gotta stop hitting that dead horse, man.
Of course, but September has one of the worst ones. Again, the Power Armor Edition strikes again.
Oh no. Oh yeah!
The helmets, it turns out, are infected with mold.
Oh, you are are a chump if you bought the $200 Power Armor Edition.
Not content on making you suffer in the game, it turns out the power armor in the real world is also glitched and broken and can give you diseases.
It's cool. Do you want to breathe in mold spores? Then you can live in the cool apocalypse, aka the one from Last of Us, where you just turn into a thing that clicks in a basement somewhere. So that's cool. Thanks. Man. Well, we were watching the Game Awards the other night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, by the way, we streamed the Game Awards. You should go check out that VOD on our Twitch. Anyways, we were doing the Game Awards, and it showed like a troupe, like a troupe who had a hard time, and that troupe is playing video game, and next to his rig was a fucking power armor helmet, and all I could think was like, that thing's probably full of mold.
Yeah.
That guy's already having a hard time. He probably has mold spores in his chest too. Thanks, Bethesda.
Thank you. Thanks, Bethesda.
I love it.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of the Power Armor Edition, let's get some of the other real world stuff out of the way as well.
Okay.
Again, this is a little out of date, but the Nuka Dark Rum that
the absolute dog shit that was the rum thing. Yeah, it's good.
It was supposed to be a nice black glass bottle of expensive rum.
Go fuck yourself.
That people pre-ordered and paid $80 for.
Again, you are a chump.
You are a fool, an
you are
idiot.
A fool. $80 for a bottle of branded rum. There's no way that rum would be good. There's no way. Even if it wasn't like a glass bottle, which it wasn't. We're about to get there. But even if it wasn't a glass bottle, it's branded rum. Like it can't be good. It cannot be good because like it has to be something as cheap as possible to come under cost for them to like maximize profit off of your terrible branded rum.
So the rum was not only was it super low quality,
shocking, wow.
It also did not come in a nice sharp glass bottle, black glass bottle. It came in a regular glass bottle with a transparent black film over it.
No, it's even stupider than that.
Oh, it was. They were plastic, weren't they? That's right.
No. Even stupider is that it's a normal rum bottle, like shaped the way like any normal kind of alcohol bottle would be shaped. Tall body, skinny neck.
Mm-hmm.
Like a bottle of Smirnoff, basically. And then it's a plastic shell that goes around the rum bottle.
God.
So it's like the actual Nuka bottle does not actually hold anything. It's just that inside of it is it's basically the world's most overpriced beer koozie.
God, that's ridiculous. That's so dumb.
Depressing. Again, you are a chump. You get rooked by anything.
I can't believe just the sheer number of just like how many things
can you do wrong?
How can you screw up literally everything in your game? Nothing in this game works, and we're not even done yet.
It's only August. We still got a couple months to go, baby.
We're not even at one of the biggest ones yet. One of my biggest and favorite. And then there's stuff that's after this article came out.
Yeah, no, it's endless. It just keeps on going. I almost think that Fallout 76 is in and of itself a vault experiment. Like an online vault experiment. I genuinely believe this is the producers. This is springtime for Hitler.
Yes! They know that they can make the worst game they imaginable and people will buy it up. And then when it goes free to play, they can run with the money.
Yeah, they're just going to bolt. Oh my god, you're so right. I could see that.
The difference being, of course, that this one was not a surprise hit that everyone actually loved.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And is in fact just a disaster that's probably barely scraping by.
The sales are catastrophically bad compared to Fallout 4's launch, yeah. 80% down is the number I heard from, like, comparing launch day sales. So, like, it's only gone down since then, you know? It's
just
incredible.
incredible.
And the other thing, sorry, one other thing. So Fallout 4 is supported in part because it's kind of like an evergreen video game, the way that the Elder Scrolls and the other Fallouts are evergreen, because it has a robust mod community. It's like, well, yeah, even if you never really got on board with it, you can get into the game now, and there's tons of new content because the game's been out for so long. You can modify the game to be exactly what you want it to be. So there's so much. That's why Skyrim always consistently sells well. It's why Fallout 4 still sells pretty well. These are games that when they go on sale, like on a Steam sale, Bethesda is clearly like making money off of these because it's like, oh, there's a mod community that has basically propped these games up to make them into like good video games instead of just mediocre like sandboxes, basically. 76 doesn't got that, baby. There's no modding a fucking fucking online game.
You can't.
Screw you.
Not even that, like, Bethesda just won't allow it, but, like, you can't really modify an online experience in any significant way because it can't be shared with other players.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
The single most appealing aspect of Fallout, like, Bethesda games in general, is mods. Like, it's so appealing that they found a way to get mods to work on consoles. Like, they understood, people like these games because mods make them, like, add variety, so that even if you've played this game 100 times, you're still getting something new out of it. It's like, that's the one thing that makes, like, Bethesda games, even at their most dismally bad, like, that makes them unique, and that makes them enjoyable. And Fallout 76 doesn't have that.
No, it doesn't have the one thing.
Oh, it's bad.
What it does have is announcements in October, and October was a banner month for Fallout 76.
I like this because the last like real clusterfucky month was April, your birthday month, and October is my birthday month.
And we've talked about these stories before, actually.
Yes.
So the NPC update to finally add NPCs to the game that people have been asking for since the game's launched is delayed. And it is delayed until sometime in 2020.
No. That's
indefinitely. Remember, that was announced in June at E3.
Yeah. Oh,
and
man, that's rough.
It still has not happened. Instead, they announced Fallout First. And we talked about Fallout First, and boy, it still makes me laugh like an idiot. Remember that Bethesda fucking stole the Ranger armor, the NCR Ranger armor, from Obsidian.
Yep.
For this.
Yep.
Because remember, Bethesda, if you didn't know, Bethesda told Obsidian, hey, you can't have power armor.
They said you can have power armor, but you can't design new power armor.
Yeah,
that was the bargain. You can't
make any new power armors for New Vegas. So their compromise was instead creating the NC Ranger outfit, which is way cooler anyway.
Yeah, the NCR Ranger look is so much cooler than literally any power armor ever.
That helmet's awesome. The coat is cool.
The chest piece kicks ass. Every part of it is good. It's
amazing. And it was exclusive to New Vegas. Like, no one else got it. It was New Vegas' thing. And now it's in Fallout 76 for people who pay $100 a year to play a game that doesn't work.
Again, chumps. Rooked. Just, you will buy a bridge in Brooklyn. You are the dumbass who is like, yeah, I can buy this counterfeit purse. It's fine. You are every idiot who clicks the Nigerian prince scam email. That's you, baby. I hate to tell you, but you're that moron. If you did any of this shit, and I am a mark for Fallout. Make no mistake, I'm a mark for Fallout. I've bought Fallout 4 3 times at this point, I think. But, that's at least kind of a good one, sort of.
That's one you can have fun with. You can do stuff with.
You can do stuff with it. If you bought And I've never bought a special edition of like recent Fallout games. I think my I have Fallout 3 special edition, but it was a gift. So, that doesn't count. I've never bought a special edition of any Fallout game as much as I love Fallout because I'm not a mark. Not that much anyways.
The difference between buying Fallout 4 is that Fallout 4 is like a project car that you can like fix up and you can do stuff with.
Yeah.
This is just like buying Fallout 76 is like
buying a Datsun.
Yeah, it doesn't, you can't do anything with it.
It's buying like a Pinto because if you rear-ended Pintos in the right way, they'd explode.
You bought instead of buying like a car you can fix up, you bought like the rusted shell. And it just sits in your garage and you pretend to drive it.
You are every redneck who just has like a rusty old truck out front and you say, I'm gonna fix that someday. It's gonna be my new truck. That's you. You're that idiot. That's what you sound like. So, and you're in a game set in West Virginia, so you deserve it. You actually are one of those hillbillies. I'm sorry to half the cast of Big Gay Nerds because they all live in West Virginia right now. I love all of you. However, I live in Alabama. I'm allowed to make that joke.
So even if you are enough of a sucker to give Bethesda $100 a month, guess what? Your perks don't work.
Fuck you anyway.
As it turns out, the private servers are not private. They just make players invisible. And
that's incredible.
Prevent them from interacting with the world. So they're still there. They're still in your game. You just can't see them.
That is an incredible metaphor for modern capitalism.
The infinite scrap box that was promised for this, which apparently you don't have unlimited scrap box in regular Fallout 76, which is bullshit because how the fuck are you supposed to build anything?
I don't know.
Turns out that thing can just eat your resources and just wipe it.
If you go from having your scrap in a paid server and you try to transfer to like a regular server, you lose all your shit.
It just eats it and then it's gone forever.
Have fun.
Which is like the two biggest things that this thing promised beyond like, oh, you can get a bunch of emotes and icons. But like the two big promises, which are private servers and unlimited scrap, which is like the thing that I would want in a online Fallout game. Like I want to play a Fallout game where it's me and my friends can just build stuff in a big void.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those two things don't work.
They don't work. They break. That's not a private... It's like the whole point, like ostensibly the point, the way you rationalize like paying the $10 of however much, the $100 a year or the $10 a month, whichever one you want to spend the money on. The way you rationalize that is like, yeah, it's a lot of money, but you're buying like a space on the server that's just for you. Like you're buying that premium space, right? Mm-hmm. And so that way you are paying for you and your friends to have a better, because like only one of your friends has to be on Fallout first to like have you and I think it's like 5 other people.
7.
On a 7. Okay, yeah. Bigger number than I expected. That's generous of you, Bethesda. So it's you and 8 people on a server. And it's like you think you're spending that money because it's giving you and your friends like a completely blank slate, clean world to just hang out in. Like that's the point. But like, no, you're not buying a spot on the server. You're just having your money stolen from you. That's it.
Nothing has changed. It's still the exact same. They just pretend it's
not. It still runs
like
dog shit because you're trying to share space with however many godforsaken people.
Nothing is. You're just throwing a blanket over the other players and being like, no, they're not there. No, don't look at them.
That's amazing. And we've already talked about people harassing the paid players, so we're not going to do it. But it is funny. It
did lead to a genuine class war between the elite and the
poors.
The poors, yes.
Here's what I'll tell you, oh listener of the Gorge. Here's a suggestion, right? Come in closer. No, closer. Little more. Do that in real life, you dumb assholes. That's called class solidarity. Go do that in real life. Go throw rocks at rich people.
Make the video game real.
This is the one time that's acceptable. Get out there and go throw rocks at Jeff Bezos. It's the only way, and he deserves it. Let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, do what you did in Fallout, including wear the bear costume. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I could die happy if I picked up the news tomorrow. Well, I picked up my phone and read the news tomorrow. About, like, local billionaire gets ass handed to him by 15 teenagers in a bear costume. I think that sounds good.
I think that would be a great way to start the day.
Class war is what I'm saying for 2020, people. It's time. It's time to make Jeff Bezos suffer. Am I allowed to, like...
Do it Fallout style.
Do it Fallout style. Wear a cool costume and sing 50s music, you know? Just walk up to Jeff Bezos with a crowbar and sing, I got spurs that jingle, jangle, jingle. So, you know.
Just something fun to think about.
Yeah, it's, you know, I'm not actually, I mean, like, allegedly. I'm not advocating for violence allegedly. Is that how I cover my ass? Yeah, please.
The Gorge does not advocate the cool crime of breaking and entering.
The Gorge does not advocate the extremely cool crime of class warfare. But it is cool, and I will send you a video calling you a cool dude.
Do not do this cool thing.
Okay, what's next?
So we've got one final article on this thing, and then I have two more articles that popped up after this article was created.
Amazing.
It's kind of a pretty good climax, though.
Oh, good. I'm excited.
At the end of October, the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission has ruled against ZeniMax and is now forcing them to refund anyone who asked for one between November and June of this year.
Wow, that is a huge window.
That is, so anyone who asks for a refund now has to get it. And the technical downside in the article is that, of course, players can no longer sign up for the game anymore. But why would you want to, obviously?
Oh my god, you don't get to play this extremely broken mess we've just been ragging on for an hour and 12 minutes.
So that's only in Australia, unfortunately. So any one of our American listeners or European listeners don't get that. But yeah, that's something that should happen.
It's a consolation prize for living in a country that's literally on fire right now.
Right,
So
yeah,
you
for
at least
sure.
get your money back for Fallout 76. So, you know.
So there are two more articles in here.
Okay.
Both of them by Ethan. Thanks, Ethan. You're doing a great job, buddy. We really appreciate all of your work.
Ethan Gacht is my hero.
So, this Wednesday, recent Wednesday, Fallout 76 bugs are making armor weak and weapons brittle. So a new patch comes out that is now causing weapon and armor durability to plummet.
Oh, man.
The way it plummets is not by taking damage. It's by firing their weapon. Causes the armor to break.
What?
Firing the weapon and reloading causes their armor degradation to go down.
Is the game reading that as, like, taking damage?
I don't know. I don't know what happens.
How does that happen?
I'm reading this wrong. It's not the degradation.
Okay.
It's the actual defense stat on their armor.
What?
The degradation one I can almost see of, like, oh, the game is, like, weirdly detecting firing in your vicinity and is harming you
taking damage
somehow.
Yeah.
No, this is actually it's the base stats of their equipment are just degrading.
But the condition of the armor is not?
No, the condition is staying the same.
What?
But it is.
What? How?
And then, so what this means is that later on in the article talks about another glitch where just stuff is just degrading faster, just in general, like when they take damage or anything like that. Like their resistance is like.
That's probably by design. They're probably setting up for some other shitty, like, microtransaction thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe, like, if you buy Fallout first, like the chump you are, your armor won't degrade faster. Who knows?
That's
Oh,
just
man.
just incredible. Like they can't
stop.
Besides the first patch to come out, like every other patch, something breaks, something else falls apart, something gets reverted back to its original stats. It happens every time. Every
I know
time
video games is hard, but come on.
Every time Bethesda touches Fallout 76, something else falls apart. It's amazing.
It is truly astonishing to me that, like, I understand, speaking of Obsidian, there was a thread on Twitter a few days back about a really funny bug fix and how it happened, about companions just dying out of the blue or being registered as dead. It's really good. You should go check it out. I'm sure if you Google it, it'll come up. So I understand that, like, video games is hard and like I said, are mostly held together by, like, magic and prayer. I assume... and, like, maybe, like, a staple or two, just to kind of keep it all sealed together. So, like, I get it. Video games are hard. But this is such a surreal level of incompetence, because this isn't, like, little funny things are breaking. You know, like, it's the joke, you know, 100 bugs on the wall, take one down, patch it around, 117 bugs on the wall kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's that super old joke, and I get that. And these aren't, like, funny... old-fashioned physics bugs or whatever, like dumb things, like turning fucking mole rats purple or something. These are like catastrophic game ruining, you can't enjoy our video game bugs. Like, this is not affecting the spawn rate of fucking Yao Guai. This is your, like, armor is...
The game is falling apart. Like, the game is preventing you from shooting your gun because it's going to cause your stuff to fall apart.
Wasn't there a patch that just made guns stop working?
Yeah, that happened as well.
Okay, good to
reduced, know. Like, some of them, like, we talked about, like, already on here, so I didn't a lot of them. But, like...
Sure.
There's that where the guns just stopped working like that. There's also the, where the, radiation effects kick in at full damage, even if they're fired by a player.
Yes.
When they should have reduced damage. So you can just grief people that way. Yeah, these are, it's just incredible that, like, no point in the, so, like, there's something like someone pointed out that there's no good version of Final Fantasy VI. Every version has some sort of weird game-breaking bug, you know, in it. There's no point where Fallout 76 worked. Like,
no, this game has been out for over a year now. It's
not like, you know, it came out and then kind of fell apart, or like it came out and had, like, only a little bit of content, but it was functional, and they just, like, whenever they add more, it falls apart. Like, no. At no point was this game even remotely playable.
That's incredible.
And it's been a year.
Over a year. Amazing to me that, like, okay, everything I think about it just blows my mind. Like, Joseph Anderson did a video about, like, just the bugs he encountered in his approximate 100 hours of trying Fallout 76, and that video is 2.5 hours long.
That's so many.
It's just, and it's so, I mean, like, literally, you get the sense that at no point in 100 hours of playing Fallout 76 for, like, months. Like, it wasn't just playing it at launch. The video came out several months after 76 came out, because, you know, he's a reasonable guy who's like, yeah, I'm gonna play it and see if patches make it better. And you get the sense that at no point at any moment in 100 hours of gameplay was something not bugging. It's like, either, like, the weather isn't loading in, or there's enemies fucking up, or any number of things. It's like at all times something on screen was bugged out.
Like, it's this weird sensation of, like, have you ever had to, like, handle something that's very fragile but has, like, a lot of moving parts?
Yes.
I get
what you mean.
That's what it feels like. Like
an old clock.
Like a clock, or like an old toy that you're trying to move into storage, and you're like,
yeah.
His leg's gonna snap right off if I set him down weird.
Just hold it together, buddy. Yeah, it's the same thing.
It's like
man.
that. Like, you're afraid, like, any movement you make in this game, you might fall through the world. You might see an enemy floating in midair. Your shit might just fall off your body at any point.
You could just walk by anything and just die randomly, have a heart attack and drop dead there in the middle of the game. Sure. Just incredible. And even, like, this is not including, like, stuff in the game that isn't a bug, but is just like a thing I heard a lot is, so there's a lot of new and pretty interesting enemy types in 76 that I've heard of. There's like mutated bumblebees that I think sound really neat, and like a mole person kind of enemy thing that is cool.
They have these like cool things like these scorchers instead of ghouls, because they don't have ghouls, even though you can have like death claws and power armor and other stuff that's incongruous, but whatever. But like the scorched are like a kind of a neat idea of like these people who just like their flesh is just burnt off and they're insane from it, you know.
Yeah, but what I mean is that like stuff like the bumblebees and the mole people and like a few other types of enemy types, like they're just not, even though that's what kind of gives 76 its like how interesting it is because it has some pretty well designed and it has cool frog enemies and stuff like that. Like, you never run into them. Like, most of the time what you fight in 76 is scorched and robots and super mutants and all your standard boring like Fallout enemies that you've seen 100 times before, and like all the cool unique stuff that would have made 76 like a different video game, something to remark upon. It's just not there. Like, you just don't run into it. I'm like, man, like, you didn't, it's like if Fallout 76 was like a really good video game, but was just kind of beset on all sides by bugs. Like fucking Fallout 2 is like that. Fallout 2 is famously like broken to shit. And so was New Vegas.
New Vegas is exactly like that. I can't play it on my 360 anymore because I can't complete one of the quests I wanted to.
Yeah. New Vegas was famously like really fucking busted. KOTOR 2, another game made by Obsidian, is by all accounts a good video game, but it's held back by bugs. It's like if 76 had been that, if it had been like a quality experience, but the creation engine, go to creation engine, you know, and that's just kind of how this system works. It would have been like, okay, cool, there's at least still like an interesting thing underneath this mound of shit. But
this game feels like Bethesda really leaned into their reputation as, haha, Bethesda bug.
Yeah.
And it was funny in like Skyrim or in Fallout 3, where it's like, oh, look at this weird like render glitch, or like, oh, the ragdoll spasmed out and now he's like he's got a gross head, but it's still counting him as alive or whatever, you know. Weird quirks of a game that happen when you were building a game this massive, and you can't obviously expect every situation to work exactly the way it should, you know?
Yeah.
This just feels like they went, fuck it, we're Bethesda. The fans love it, right?
Yeah, it sucks. Like,
because we don't, actually.
Actually.
The truth is we would rather these glitches not be in there. It's just that up until now, they've just been, whatever.
You'll tolerate it.
The guy looked weird for a second. Or like, oh, the head got turned around. Whatever, no big deal.
It's like small stuff that's just kind of like weird quirks, but none of it's really been like disruptive, I guess. Like, all of Bethesda's old bugs don't really disrupt the game. They're just kind of like, that's stupid. You move on. Well, like, the bugs and problems in 76 disrupt the game, and there isn't even like a good game underneath all of the bugs and problems, you know? Like, it's just, all there is some genuinely good looking set design, some neat enemies, a lot of cool art assets at the service of like nothing, like in service of nothing good. That's what 76 is. There's a lot of really cool things. There's a fucking wrecked space station in the middle of a field. That's cool. Guess what? There's like no story attached to it. There's like not even like logs and stuff. You can't go inside of it. There's no logs that, like, you know, like your standard Bethesda journals that tell you, like, what's going on. There's none of those. It's just a crash space station. There's, like, cool, abandoned, giant farming equipment. Like, massive, the size of buildings. I'm clearly inspired by, like, I've seen some cool videos lately of, like, massive Russian, like, mining equipment that's, like, insane. It's clearly inspired by that. There's like shanty towns and like a town built around an old like power, one of those big power tower things whose name is totally forgotten right now. Like all kinds of cool stuff like that. It's clear like there's a lot of really neat design stuff going on in Fallout 7. The Strangler Vine Forest that I am obsessed with because if you look at screenshots of it, it is extremely cool looking. There's like there's a full plane, like a passenger plane that's been caught in the Strangler Vines, and it looks like a fly. It's so neat. It looks like a fly caught in a spider's web, but it's a massive plane. And at the heart of the Strangler Vine Forest it's a tree that looks like a mushroom cloud, and in the tree is the door to the vault. So it's obvious that like whatever is going on in the Strangler Vine Forest is related to that vault. And you're like, oh, that's really cool. Check that out. There's this really awesome visual design going on in this game. There's some really, like, from what I could see, there's some pretty beautiful set pieces in a game that is non-functional and is broken and unfun and uninspired and just a drag as 76. And that is like the biggest crime that this game commits is taking like really beautiful work that clearly was probably built over hundreds of hours of just like life destroying crunch. Because we know now that 76 had a lot of crunch. You know, people who God love them for some fucking reason actually put effort into this dog shit. And like Bethesda didn't even have the decency to like do like basic QA testing. And this game is, by all accounts that I've read, being run by a skeleton crew now.
I totally believe that there's just like the team just gets smaller and smaller every day.
Yeah. What demoralizing work that has to be.
And it just keeps happening. These kinds of disasters keep happening for a game that is ultimately meaningless.
Yeah, because ultimately, one day 76 will go offline, and you won't be able to get to it. And
then it doesn't matter anymore. And then
it won't exist anymore.
And then like they're not like they've had a year and they have not added anything to provide meaning to any of the things you talked about.
Yeah.
And like I
know. It's staggering, right?
Like, what is the purpose at this point of this?
Yeah, what is the purpose of this game? Like, what are you supposed to do in 76? Like, you go around and you build things with your friends, but none of that works.
When you're starting a game like WoW or FF14, you know, these games have story. They have expansions. They have like titled expansions that add to the lore that cause massive shifts to the in-game universe, right? Fallout 76 doesn't have that. It has no story. It has no hint of like a progression of events.
Yeah, because it's not like a normal MMO either, because like a normal MMO does have like a plot you progress through, and then like the story of the world changes with expansions, and it's like you don't really feel like you live in a progressing world. You just feel like you live in an instance. And
then you think about stuff like Minecraft, which has no story whatsoever, but it also has private servers.
Yeah.
And it has things you can set up for other players to do. If you want the thrill of a quest-based narrative in a giant world that you and other players participate in, you have 14. You have WoW, right? If you want you have
14. Nobody plays WoW.
Yeah, you have 14.
You've got 14.
If you want just and a sense of exploration and crafting and building with your friends, you have Minecraft.
Right.
Like, you are, like, what is Fallout 76's identity?
Yeah, because it felt like 76 was poised to be like the hybrid of those two concepts of like a world where you can build and hang out with your friends, and there's a story going on as well. And it's like that, if it executed correctly, is a video game that I probably would lose like half my life to, because I already play a ton of Fallout anyways, because I'm a sucker.
We talk about a lot how like the only thing holding us from playing 14 is that we don't have the time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Since 76 would have, like, this ideal 76 would have been a lot less, like, intrusive and a lot less, like, demanding of our time, we could be into that one.
Oh my god, it would have been perfect, because it would have been just like there's less grind involved in a game like 76, where you just kind of putz around and explore abandoned buildings and, build houses with your friends. Like, that's cool. That's fun. That's the sort of thing people, like, really enjoy doing. I feel like that's a thing I could have done with a lot of my friends, is just set up a server and have it be a true private server, and just all of us hang out and basically just vacation in West Virginia every now and then is what it boils down to. And that would have been really good and really fun. But even that simple idea of, like, a private server where it's just you and your friends, you don't pay $100 a year for it, you pay like $20 a year for it, like you did back in the old days, and it's just a place for you and your friends to hang out with. They even fucked up that.
They couldn't even get that one thing right.
The one thing that might have compelled me to play this video game is, like, honest to God, if 76 had the option to do true private servers for an affordable price, I probably would have. It's not that I think 76 looks amazing, but I think that the vistas are interesting enough, and I just literally any video game on Earth is made better with co-op. Even the worst video game ever, like Resident Evil 6, for example, a game that nobody likes, but everybody says, oh yeah, the co-op is a blast, because you're playing with a friend.
Yeah.
Like, everything is improved when you're hanging out with somebody in even the most mediocre video game. You're still having a good time, because you got a friend to talk to and shoot monsters with and go, ooh, look at this neat thing.
It would have
build houses together.
It would have been great.
Nope, not in 76. Nothing's good in 76. Everything 76 touches turns to shit, including my beloved Fallout.
Now we have one more story.
Oh god, you've been holding out on me.
That came out today.
I don't know this one then.
So I'll just skim the article itself. Hackers find a way to add... What do you think?
Hackers find a way to add giant boobs.
No.
If they were going to do anything, it would be that. Infinite money. Atom points. Like Atom Shop points.
That would be great, but it's worse.
Oh man, it's not cool, like stealing shit from Bethesda.
Hackers find a way to add NPCs to Fallout 76.
Oh,
so
beautiful.
Some new cheating programs are out that are helping players duplicate their items and adding new objects to their environment. One of which, so they're adding NPCs, which when they're spawned, they're just kind of naked like default naked characters that have a random equipment on them. Mm-hmm. They're also adding some weird items that are in the game's files.
Oh boy.
Like the Pridwin.
What?
Players reported, like a week ago, they reported like seeing or hearing Fallout 4's Pridwin in the environment. Kind of like seeing Bigfoot in San Andreas, you know? Like those weird old rumors that are like, oh yeah, they're ghost cars and all that.
Oh yeah.
Except this one, you can actually pull the mask off Old Man Jenkins and find out that it's just the Pridwin being dropped in the environment by some hackers who found it in the game's files and spawned it in the environment.
Now, Oh boy. Now, the question is, well, the Predwin is old world tech. So it could be that they're planning something with it. Or it could just be that this game is just Fallout 4 reskinned and the Predwin's just hanging out in the files and you can just spawn it. You know? Like, both options are equally stupid. That's incredible. That really is just the perfect summation. It's either this game is just a reskinned Fallout 4 and they forgot to take out something as massive as the fucking Predwin, or they're going to find a way to milk the fucking Predwin literally 175 years before it's relevant. Both of those are so fucking stupid. Like, wow, you did it. You did it! You boiled Bethesda down to its basic essence!
This is amazing to me. This came out today.
Just imagine just walking around some forest in West Virginia and you've played enough Fallout 4 to like know what the Predwin sounds like. And you just hear like a fucking like airship roll by and you look up and you've been playing this game for like one of the assholes who's been playing this game since it launched. You just look up and there's a fucking airship just trundling on by and you're just like, what the fuck?
Just like I want to live in the time frame, the glorious time frame between I saw the Predwin, I don't believe you, and this article coming out. I do want to live in that. That's like the fucking dream of like we've talked about this on the podcast where it's like I want to live back in the recess rumor era.
Yeah.
I want to live back in the days of Mew 3 and Peekaboo.
Before the internet could just like instantly disprove you.
Yeah.
Just imagine just walking along and like literally out of a fucking movie, just a giant shadow falls over you. You know? Because the Predwin does cast a shadow, by the way. It does actually cast a shadow in the world. So you could just be walking around and just a massive airship shadow just falls over at you and you're like, what the fuck? You look up and there's an airship in Fallout 76 and it's like, oh no. This just got real stupid.
You try to take a screenshot and they're like, that's a mod.
And then the game crashes.
Yeah, and then the game crashes.
And then the game crashes. Just a cherry on top of this horrible sundae. Amazing. Amazing, Ben.
So we'll see where the future leads. One day it'll go free to play, and then shortly after that the servers will shut down.
Yeah, it'll go free to play for like a month. And then, too, Bethesda is exactly as shitty and spiteful that, like, if 4 went free to play, like, they wouldn't make it available for single player. Like, it would just go away forever. The way Battleborn is going away forever.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
76 would just go away forever. There would be no way to just, like, play it by yourself or even, like, local, like, co-op, you know? Mm-hmm. Anything like that. Like, they would just remove like a piece of Fallout lore from existence, you know, because like technically this fucking piece of shit is canon. Not that I pay attention to that, because it doesn't matter anymore. Because Bethesda is the one in charge of Fallout's canon, which is just depressing. Mm-hmm. So like it doesn't matter that it's canon, but it is technically canon, and as such, if it goes away forever, then they've just like casually excised like a massive chunk of Fallout's like timeline, just like that.
Yep.
Can you believe how much the all digital future actually sucks?
I can't wait until this game that sucks. I can't wait until it just doesn't exist anymore and no one can ever go into it ever again.
Oh no, that's a sad note to end this episode on. But this has been a pretty pathetic story of lies and deceit and anger and a concert, nobody getting their fucking stew.
A concert of sad trombones.
It's true. So
I think that'll do it for us.
Yeah, that's a good way to end it.
Thank you for free for your background music. You can follow me on Twitter at thegorgepodcast. You can follow Sara at radioinactivity. And if you want to listen to Sara talk about some other folks from West Virginia, you can listen to her other podcast.
It's true, actually. Hey, I'm in another podcast with a bunch of people in West Virginia called Big Gay Nerds, where me and my other cool queer friends get together and we play tabletop games. We try out a lot of systems. We have a lot of fun. I'm not in the current block. I've been taking a break. But they are starting up. I think they're starting Star Wars now.
Ooh,
so, yeah.
timely.
If you want to go listen to Jonix go run Star Wars, go check us out at Big Gay Nerds on SoundCloud, and you can find the links to the rest of our social media from there. Thanks.
All right. And again, you can find us on Patreon and Ko-fi if you want to help us out. Again, at $500 or $500 a month. Speaking of this awful game, if you can
play this game.
If you can get our Patreon to $500 a month, we will start a bonus streaming channel service called The Bad Game, where we will play bad games on stream and we will make fun of them and suffer through the horribleness. So
this would be a good one for that one,
and this would be a great one for it. So help us get to that goal so we can actually play Fallout 76 and die.
Thank you. We love you.
Right. Fuck Bethesda and fuck Todd Howard.
Fuck Emil Pagliarulo. That's who I really have the biggest beef with. Todd Howard, I feel like at this point, Todd Howard is just the bag man. Like, he's just there to, he's the scapegoat. He's the whipping boy.
He's the messenger, and we shouldn't shoot him, but...
we shouldn't shoot him, but we will make fun of him. And maybe throw rocks at him. Not like the way we're going to throw rocks at Jeff Bezos, but we will throw maybe, a rock at him, So... yeah, my biggest, my true hate is Emil Pagliarulo, who is a hack and has never written a good thing in his life, except allegedly Far Harbor, but I don't believe that. So, fuck that guy, fuck Fallout 76. Good night, everyone.
Good night.